As the great Brent Musburger would say, you are looking live. Man, we got to congratulate Brent Musburger on the Hall of Fame. I bumped into Brent Musburger at the airport after the Hall of Fame and gave him a big congratulations, man. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. All right, here's the deal. What we're doing today. Bobby, my son who's here, and me and you, we're going to get this Kenny Pickett stuff out of the way. Kenny Pickett's a good backup quarterback. Slow your roll and calm the F down. We got Kenny Pickett. He could have been a starter in this league multiple times. He's a good backup. So, really, if you're going to bitch and moan about Kenny Pickett, Amari Cooper. I like Amari Cooper. I always have liked Amari Cooper. Now, he never seemed to like, he was never happy. He was not happy every time I saw him in Oakland, but I think he's more of a baller. He's more of a football player. He's like Brock Bowers, but different. Brock is all ball. I think Amari's all ball too. What concerns you about roster cutoffs today? What concerns you about the roster today? You know, my son also told me that Kenny Pickett took a knee in the Super Bowl as the confetti went down. Kenny Pickett was the quarterback of record in the last Super Bowl. Can everybody double check that for me? That is accurate, correct? How was Jalen Hurts not in the Super Bowl on the last play of the game? I did not remember that. It happened. Surprised we let go of Booker. No, there's two Bookers, correct? Yeah, we didn't let go of the one from Philly. All right, keep an eye on the cut down wire for me as I open up the show. I am looking at Ian Rappaport and I am looking at Adam Schefter.
Las Vegas. This is Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're listening to JT the Brick on Raider Nation Radio.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
We're going to have a lot of positive energy. The guys that love to compete and play with passion are going to have a chance at the place.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team.
I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT on a big day today, one of the biggest days in the NFL for the players. Either you make the team, you are waived, you are cut, you're on the practice squad, and we'll all find out today because it's mandatory, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, final rosters from the NFL, including your silver and black, as we open up the show today, live from Lotus Broadcasting. JT with you live on YouTube, where we're growing that platform so you could get some body signals from me. You can come right in, you can watch the show, and most importantly, make new internet friends. Just go to YouTube, hit on JT the Brick, and you'll just be right there. You'll be in the show, and you can watch it on your phone. You can watch it on X, as we're streaming on both platforms, and we think that's cool. Not a lot of radio shows are doing that. The big ones do it, the ones that are simulcast on TV. You know those radio shows that are simulcast on TV and pretty much all hate the Raiders? They all disrespect the Raiders? This is JT Raw. This is not like drones flying over me. There's no drones here and, 15 camera angles. It's just a raw feed because I'm a raw radio host. Same guy you listened to in 1998 when I started. We're rolling right now. Football starts next week. I'm kicking myself that I didn't go away. My schedule all of a sudden cleaned up and cleared up. How am I not gone, Bobby, on the beach in San Diego for one last time? How am I not in Costa Mesa on the beach of Newport Beach one last time? Maybe I can. Maybe I can pull that off. Get out of here for a while. Don't we have a monsoon coming? Don't we have some rain coming? Is this a good time to get out of here, or is it raining in L.A. or the Bay Area? When was the last time I was in the Bay Area? Wow, that's been a while. I don't remember the last time I went to Original Joe's and went on my boat ride to Tiburon. I need to do that, get that back in my life, or to see some live music. We going to have any live music this weekend? I'm not talking about a DJ bump, bump, bump. I'm talking about a live act in Vegas. Any concerts I need to see before the season starts off? Yes, Snow Raider. I missed Tahoe this year, which is brutal that I haven't been up to Tahoe. The last couple of years in Tahoe, you could catch smoke from a fire or you can get beautiful weather. And it's raining in Tahoe today, which is interesting. So I'm ready to go today. We're going to wait here for a little bit to find out the final roster and go from there. But the monologue is focused on PTs. They fuel the monologue 5 to 7, midnight to 2. Our partners at PTs reminded me they would love to host your fantasy draft. They have the fantasy kicks. They have the specials. They're great at it. It's unbelievable. You can go to the SG bar, which is used to be $1.90 from an Uber for me, from the SG bar to my house. Now I think it's $3.50. Everything's gone up in Vegas. Even my $2 Uber ride from the SG bar, because you never drink and drive. You never drink and drive, ever. But if you're putting your fantasy team together, let me know. My son, who's in studio with me today, plays fantasy, and I think you can win. And I don't play. It's not because I don't like it, but I don't play. I root for my team. Like if I was playing fantasy baseball, every play would be a Yankee. I would turn down the best Red Sox. I would never root for a Red Sox. But fantasy football is different. I mean, some of you Raider fans draft Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how you do it. Some of you Raider fans are going to draft Bo Nix in your fantasy league. I couldn't do that. Maybe you can because you want to win your fantasy league. More power to you. I want to begin by just saying this, and hopefully my son doesn't cut it up and put it in a reel, but maybe he will. Travis Kelce got engaged today to one of the most, maybe the most famous person in the world. My wife is a Swiftie. She loves the music. She's been to the shows. I've seen Rush 54 times. So you know where I stand on all this. I will say this again. I am not disgusted by this when people come together and get married. I think we need more of that. I'm fine with that. I am so disgusted that this is mainstream sports news. I am disgusted by it. I just am. And guess what? If you don't get that, I could give a crap. I could care less if you don't get that. I don't despise the woman Travis Kelce is dating and got engaged to. I don't despise anybody, especially women. I put women on a pedestal where they all should be. I am so disgusted that this came across my feed as an alert today, breaking news. I almost had to walk around the block when I'm cranky Yankee. I almost had to do that. I've been telling you for decades, that we are becoming a softer and softer sports society. That's my line, no one else's. Okay, I've been telling you since, and this is not a boomer, get off my lawn stuff. This is fact, not fiction. We are becoming a softer and softer sports society. The top headline today is not sports. We have Arch Manning playing at the Shoe against Ohio State. And Travis Kelce's engagement to a starlet is a bigger headline than that. Just saying. Okay? I'm not making this up. Am I biased? You better believe I'm biased against the Chiefs. Thank God. I don't know, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, everybody will be a Chief fan who's doing national radio. That's the way this thing is trending. That's the way this thing is trending. Because Travis Kelce is marrying the most popular woman in the world, no debate. The Chiefs are gaining millions of fans. Now, if it was thousands of fans, I wouldn't bring it up. But it's millions. And that bothers me. And you better be watching and listening to me because you know who I am. And you know that bothers me. So that's it. Am I going to lose sleep over it? No. But, I mean, I am broadcasting in the heart of Raider Nation. And did you see how many national shows today broke into their shows and started giggling, wishing Travis Kelce and his fiance the best? In sports. In sports. I leave politics out of sports. I'll give you a movie review every once in a while. And I'm sitting there today prepping for the show. My wife's like, just get out. Go. Just go in. My wife's a Swiftie. And I'm sitting there going, this is incredible, man. This is on my phone. I got an alert on my phone today that Travis Kelce got engaged. You got to be kidding me. I mean, I'm trying to get through roster cuts today. I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen, what's going to go down, and everybody is breaking into their programming for clicks on Travis Kelce. We can't guard him. We've never been able to guard him once. In Spy Tech, I trust. And this is a great segue, Bobby. This is a professional segue right here. This is a great segue. We haven't been able to guard Kelce. There has been nobody on God's green earth that has covered this topic more than JT the Brick in the third person. Nobody has covered this topic better than me and more detailed than me. I've sat down with head coaches in a studio and have asked them this question over the years. How are you going to guard Kelce? They tell me, and it doesn't happen. Okay. I've sat at the Torch on the pregame show saying, are we going to guard Travis Kelce for once? Never happens. I am confident that John Spytek and Pete Carroll will guard Travis Kelce. I'm confident. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen, right? I don't know if it's going to happen. We play them twice. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm confident we're going to attempt to do it better because of Pete Carroll. And the fact that they brought in Jamal Adams, who's just a lunatic, right? And he wants this role. And then we sat down in Arizona, and Matt Millen just went one-on-one with Jeremy Chin about his skill set. And I think that Jeremy Chin, you can move him into the box against Kelce, and he'll put his hands on him, and one of our linebackers will chip him. Because I've had Raider games where we didn't even line up anybody in front of Kelce on the 4-yard line. Remember those years? Where Kelce would be lined up first and goal at the 4, and there wouldn't even be a linebacker standing in front of him. And he'd just go 4 yards in, and he'd catch a ball right in his stomach. I'd be like, what was that? No, like, what was that? So that's how I segue from Travis Kelce getting engaged to guarding Travis Kelce. When the roster comes down today, I would assume that the 3 veteran linebackers, along with the safeties that are going to be out there, and I consider Jamal Adams a safety, even though he's going to be a linebacker. I do. I consider him a safety. He's not great on the deep ball, but he's great at whacking people across the middle of the field. I mean, I'm not looking for Jack Tatum in his prime or Rod Woodson in his prime. I just want someone to guard Kelce at the very, very, very end of his career. He might retire at the end of this year. He probably will. And wouldn't it be great if we beat Kelce one of these 2 games this year and someone knocked him down and planted him into the grass at Allegiant Stadium? So that's how I go from Taylor Swift to our safeties putting their hands on Kelce. All right, here's the reason I came in today and didn't do the show from home. The first hour's open, then we're going to get the final Raider roster if it doesn't happen already. Okay, so we're going to have that coming up here in a little bit. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises. But yesterday, after I ended the show, we signed Amari Cooper. We got Amari Cooper, and then we got Kenny Pickett. Oh, boy. So have you checked out Raiders Nation reaction to this? No. Yeah, don't. Raider Nation is not good with this. Like, you can't give something new to a Raider fan that's old. You can't give something new to a Raider fan that they've seen before. That doesn't work with Raider Nation. It really doesn't. So how do you want to handle this, everybody? I can't read your mind, but I have an open line at 702-365-9200. So here's the first part of this. Amari Cooper's a very good player. He's been a very good player in this league. He's a really good Raider. The only criticism I've had of Amari is that he didn't look like he had a good time in Oakland. He looked miserable most of the time. I hope that's changed. I do. I think he's at the end of his career, and he's probably very grateful. But then again, Brock Bowers, who doesn't look miserable, Brock Bowers is all ball. I had a chance to speak to Brock when we were in Arizona in the meal room, and we were both waiting on an omelet. And I was talking to Brock, and I was asking him about his parents. His parents are great. I interviewed them first, and He appreciated that. I asked him what games his parents were going to come to. We were having a nice conversation, and Brock's all ball. Brock is all football. So's Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper never spoke. I don't think I ever interviewed him or ever talked to him in his years with the Raiders. He was all ball. So we got Amari Cooper back. I talked to an insider in Buffalo about this. He said, well, Amari didn't get open much in Buffalo. I said, what do you mean? He goes, he didn't get open much. He didn't have a good break off the ball. He wasn't that good. All right, that was one man's opinion. I trust the opinion of John Spytek and what John Spytek's trying to do. So I trust his opinion there. And Amari Cooper's there. So Raider Nation started freaking out yesterday on X that we're not going to sign Jacoby Myers because we signed Amari Cooper. No, that didn't happen. Amari Cooper was available. His price went significantly down to what he's probably worth. The Raiders added another receiver. Then I have other people going, well, that means Jack Besh is toast. No, it doesn't. Jack Besh is a rookie. He's had a nice camp. He blocks downfield. He's a young player. And Jack Besh is going to be fine. Will it take away some touches, Amari Cooper, from Brock, Michael Mayer, and Jack Besh? Yes. If Amari Cooper comes out and Amari Cooper's getting open and making plays on 3rd and 6, good for us. All I care about is moving the bleeping chains. That's all I care about. Move the chains. Give Max more rest. Please give Max more rest. Let Max play 26 minutes instead of 34. That would be what I'm talking about. So we should all be welcoming Amari Cooper back to the Raiders. He's a good guy, really good character guy. We all agree on that, right? Good guy. So let's do the right thing on Amari Cooper. Let's do the right thing. He can only help. You're Raider fans. You want to get back to the playoffs. You want to win a Super Bowl. If Amari Cooper can help us, the Raider Nation, let's welcome him. But the Kenny Pickett story is really big because I talked to 2 Browns insiders, legit people, and they said that Kenny Pickett, if he didn't have his hamstring issue at the beginning of camp, would have been the starter. I said, wait, whoa. I need that for the show. What are you saying? 2 guys called me back, not text, we talked. They said Kenny Pickett was, by all intents and purposes, he was going to start over Flacco, but his hamstring pulled and he missed time and Flacco got the job. So Kenny Pickett can play. And then you might have saw my tweet from earlier today. I put it out because Phil Villapiano, one of the greatest Raiders of all time, sent me a nice text. I'll read it to you. Kenny Pickett is the second guy to make the pros from Ocean Township High School in New Jersey. I was the first. Kenny can play. He's one of us. He has some snake in him. When he came out of Pitt, I told him he would be a great pick for the Raiders. Now he's a Raider. I feel really good about this with him as the backup. Phil Villapiano knows a lot more about football than I do. And he thinks Kenny Pickett, he's got a connection to him and be a good player. So the key comes, Kenny Pickett was drafted into this league, and he's still young. He's still young to be a starter. He got drafted by teams that he couldn't get ahead of the starter. That doesn't mean you're toast. Kurt Warner was stocking grocery store shelves and had to go to the Indoor Football League. I am not comparing Kenny Pickett to Kurt Warner, a Hall of Famer, but some guys, I forgot, Rich Gannon. How old was Rich Gannon compared to Kenny Pickett when he came to the Raiders? I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's going to be an MVP. All I care about is, can Kenny Pickett play and advance the football and throw it, not hand it off if Geno gets dinged? Yeah, he can do that. He can do that. And I don't know what the future means for Aiden O'Connell. As I tweeted out after the game on the bus, Aiden's been through a lot. He's been through a lot. And Aiden's part of the Raiders and on IR here as we go forward. I don't know the future of Aiden O'Connell. We'll deal with that when we know his future as he's coming back from this injury. But Kenny Pickett can play. So what we're dealing with now is a bunch of people that want to rate Kenny Pickett as a backup. Oh, boy. All right, what do you want to do? You want to rate backup quarterbacks? You want me to blow out an hour and go 1 to 32 on backups? Kenny Pickett's in the top 10 of backups in regards to age, the ability, arm strength, and all that. He's in the top 10 of backups. Are we all good on that?
Cool.
Okay, cool. We're good on that. So let's welcome Kenny Pickett and not bust his blank.
Yeah.
Because we're Raider fans, let's welcome him to the Raider Nation. And if we need him, let's hope he can step up. Let's hope he can step up. We did the same thing with Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo. They were good players. They were good players in this league. Look at all the film on Jimmy Garoppolo. He won 4 playoff games. Gardner Minshew had some nice throws. He beat Baltimore, the greatest 12 minutes last year in the Raiders season. Can Kenny Pickett go into Washington if he had to with Ashton Genty and all these guys and go win a game? Yeah, I think he can. That's all. I hope he doesn't have to. I hope Geno plays every snap other than some kneel downs. And as my son pointed out today, Kenny Pickett was the quarterback of the last Super Bowl to take a knee when the confetti came down. Do you know that Kenny Pickett was the quarterback of the world champion Eagles when the confetti was raining down? He was on the field.
I didn't know that.
You did not know that?
No, I
Yes,
didn't.
that is true.
Cool.
Kenny Pickett, world champion.
Now he's a
World
Raider.
champion.
Now he's a Raider.
So let's welcome Kenny Pickett. I got Wayne Mulholland in my chat saying Pickett is horrible. Okay, I don't know how Wayne Mulholland plays quarterback,
I don't know.
but he thinks that this guy's horrible.
I never heard of him.
I'd never heard of Wayne either, but he's in the chat. We thank him. He's a bricklayer. Thank you. But, you know, I just am amazed that people can't welcome people to the team. You know what I mean? Like, it's fascinating to me. Now, if you want to run a guy out, I'm good with that. That's sports radio. That is sports radio.
Yeah.
You have a coach, you got a player who needs to be benched or be fired. That's okay, as long as you don't make it personal. As long as you don't make it personal. But, I mean, how do you not – how are you a Raider fan and Kenny Pickett gets signed by John Spytek and you're not like, hey, Kenny, welcome to the Raiders, man. You went to the same high school as Phil Villapiano, man. Welcome to the team. Are we not allowed to have nice things around here? Are we not allowed to have a nice backup quarterback? Can we have a nice backup quarterback who might not play or not? That's all. So, you know, I'm not going to lose my mind on this, but it's a good phone topic as we wait for the final roster here. I tweeted out earlier today, people got it wrong too. There's going to be a really good corner cut today. We got to get him. I don't know who the player is. I'm sorry. I don't know who's getting cut. That's why we're trying to figure this out today. I got a bunch of screens open. I would hope that the best cornerback today who is cut and put on waivers the Raiders sign. I would hope that happens today because I think the Raiders need another corner. I really do, and I think you agree with me. So let's see what happens there. If not, we'll stick with the guys we got. But I hope someone's available. So that's where we're at as we begin. Mike, start us off today. You're on Raider Nation Radio. How are you, Mike?
Where are you?
Mike, you're on the radio. Are you there? Let's bring him up.
Hold it.
No, there's no phone there, Bobby, so we don't have something configured right.
Hang on, why-
All right, so let's get out of that. 702-365-9200 as we open up the show. Maybe we have the phone ghost going today.
Hey, Derek, hold on.
So let's get this figured out here, and we'll get going again. Bobby says we'll go out to George in Vegas on 920. Go ahead, George.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you? Go ahead.
Hey, well known more likely as Freaky G. Hey, we're gonna welcome Amari Cooper to Raider Nation. Pickett, I'm out on the limb. I trust the coaches on that. But JT, keep doing your thing.
What's your name?
I met you years ago. I was doing a rehab on my knee, I believe, out in Orange County, and you were coming out of Hooters, and I was going in.
Oh, wow, Hooters, a favorite spot back in the day. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and it was a while ago too. But yeah, I trust the coach's decisions.
Raider Nation.
Pickett wasn't the second best quarterback on that Philadelphia team. It happened to be Tanner McKee out of Corona, California, Centennial High School, by way of Stanford. But yeah, Let's welcome them all. I trust in the coach's decision, and I know Amari's going to do his thing.
Yeah, I hope
Keep doing what you do, JT.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate the call. Thanks, George, for checking in. I hope Amari does his thing. I don't know what Amari can do. I don't know what he can do still. He struggled in Buffalo. He did. He struggled getting open because he's not the same player he was when he was a rookie and in his second year with the Raiders or with the Cowboys. That's okay. He plays a role here. I don't know what the role is. Second down, third down. I don't know. We'll see. Chip Kelly, I guarantee you can scheme Amari Cooper getting open with his skill set. I can promise you that. Chip's choice. I think Chip had to sign off on that, you would think. And I think Chip probably said, yeah, we could use him. We can definitely use him. And if someone loses a touch or two, it's big boy radio. They'll deal with it. Big D. Good to hear my buddy. Makes the best salsa in the world in Walnut Creek. What's up, D?
JT, always good to hear your voice. Love the show as always. Typical, a lot of these Raiders fans come up with the negativity and start to panic about as if they're, authorities on a lot of these guys. And now I'm not claiming to be an authority, but I just know Pickett had a monster senior season in Pitt. Now, he was drafted by the Steelers, and let's face it, the Steelers aren't known for highlighting their offense. They stick to their defense. And sometimes it takes a guy a couple of places, a couple of teams to find his groove. Baker Mayfield is a prime example of that, And, Jim Plunkett is a prime example of that. So I'm not saying he's going to come in here and tear things up and everything, but you put him in with Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll and develop him. He's not expected to start. Unless Geno gets hurt, I'm going to ask him, look, we're not expecting you to win the game, just don't lose it. And who knows what he might be able to develop into that player he came out of, that he was when he came out of college. So I'd like to sign, and again, I trust Carroll and Spytech, and I think he could supplant AOC when it comes down to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and seeing what he can do, and hopefully he's with the team with a few years. He could be he could be the starter in 3 years or so. Jacoby Myers, he wants his money, he wants his bag. I don't think there's going to be a problem. I don't think unless he goes on the field and dogs it, then that's a problem. But I don't think he's going to dog it. He's going to be a professional, play his game, do what he has to do. And if they want to trade him, they'll trade him. If they want to give him his money, they'll give him his money, and everything will be fine. So no need to panic. And good to have Amari Cooper back and everything. Just need to see a little intensity out of him. Not expecting to be number one. Just catch the ball. That's all. We just want guys to catch the ball. You don't have to be a track star, just make the catch. Freddie Blitnikoff was a prime example, a guy that just catch the ball. So that's all I got for you, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Good to talk to you. God bless you too, man. Big D checking in. Vinny Bonsignor put this out. Interesting note about Pickett. He was actually the favorite to win the Browns starting quarterback job, but the hamstring injury he suffered on July 26th sidelined him for most of camp. I reported the same thing. Vinny Bonsignor, 19 hours ago. Kenny Pickett is 15-10 as a starter over the last 3 seasons. You can do a lot worse for your backup. The 5th round pick for the Raiders tells you that there was competition for him. Yeah, I mean, the guy's won games. Hey, Kenny Pickett, this is what's crazy about being a backup quarterback. Kenny Pickett was drafted by Pittsburgh. He wasn't going to start on Pittsburgh as a rookie. Then he went to Philadelphia, and he wasn't going to start over Jalen Hurts. If Kenny Pickett went to Jacksonville, Kenny Pickett had an opportunity at Cleveland. If Kenny Pickett was playing somewhere else, he might be a starter in this league. I mean, I don't know how anybody thinks a 27-year-old first-round pick. He was drafted in the first round in 2022. 20th pick overall. This guy ain't a bum. The first-round draft pick in the NFL. I mean, come on. He's not a 7th-round pick. Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy's making $50 million a year. He was the last pick in the draft. This guy was the 20th. So he's not a bum. But the thing comes down to once you become a backup, if you can't get off the field, Drew Lock is a player I like a lot. He played injured against the Raiders when he was with Denver, and he's in Seattle. He was with the Giants. Drew Lock's a decent player. He just can't get a chance. And you know who's been snake bit almost more than anybody recently? A guy by the name of Aiden O'Connell. He was drafted out of Purdue in the 4th round to be parked. Just park him. He's played a lot. His coach got fired who drafted him. The next coach got fired. The next coach was let go. GM gone. And 5 play callers.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett hadn't gone through what Aiden O'Connell went through. Aiden O'Connell's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens. You're on a journey in life, everybody. And when you look back at your life, if you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, when you look back in your life in your 20s, you think you figured it all out? No, but in the NFL, you have to. If you don't figure it out in your 20s, you could be a Jim Plunkett. You could be a Rich Gannon. You could be a guy that gets a chance later in your career and be outstanding. But when you're a quarterback in this league, you better be good, man, the first time you hit the field. Because once you get benched, you might not be on the field again. You might be traded, and then you become a clipboard guy your entire career. And there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that. You're in the NFL, you're a quarterback, you're in the meeting room, and you're helping your teammates win. The DeCastroverde Law Group, they are back with us. Man, we got a lot of our partners back. If you get into an accident, the Brothers Win, brotherswin.com. You need an accident attorney in Vegas because the roads are like NASCAR. The cones are everywhere. The strip is chaos. So if you do get into an accident and you're injured or you just need legal advice, it's at the DeCastroverde Law Group, 702-222-9999. We're off to a great start. Today's a big day.
It's the morning tailgate.
All right, Jason, anybody get cut of relevance?
Just shoot for a second. Just need to look at it.
Yeah.
Great. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, Tim, you're going to lead off. You need about 5 minutes, okay? Ready to roll. Hey. Yeah, all right, cool. We're going to be number 2 after the commercial. You need about 5 minutes. I got your buddy Mitch on hold, too, but I'm not going to put him on.
All right, chat. We got 679 in today. That's a nice one. Please hit the like button if you can. Please subscribe. Remember, the goal was to get to 5,000 subs and get to 10,000. So everybody on this group, I need you to get me to 10,000 subscribers if you can. Only way that's going to happen is longer and you sharing this page with someone else. Because it costs nothing to subscribe. You just click on subscribe. It's free. Yeah, Renfro just got cut. Renfro got cut.
Tim in Sacramento. I'm going to play the Summer Open and then go right into the first Charles Woodson cut.
Yes. Thank you.
I got that L. Davis thing you sent me on Facebook yesterday, too.
Good. Charles Woodson is our featured alumni, which we'll get into in the second hour. Charles Woodson. Salute to Thor. Yes. Me and Thor need to grab a cigar. Our La Casa Cigars is opened up again. Anything else out there, Schefter or Rappaport? Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, plays home. Can't perform, like he's just hurt.
Okay.
We're just waiting. I seen Isaiah Simmons, remember him?
Yeah.
The big guy, he got cut early.
I liked him. Isaiah Simmons, when he came out, I liked him a lot.
He's a hybrid safety linebacker.
How bad is this? The Chiefs tweeted out. Look at the Chiefs tweeting this out.
Oh, don't.
When you need legal advice, you need the brothers. You need the DeCastroverde law firm. This is JT. They're my attorneys and they should be yours too. For personal injuries and accidents, reach out to the DeCastroverde. They didn't tag Taylor Swift. That's the only thing. They didn't tag her. If they did, they'd have 1 million likes. Let's get in this Woodson bourbon whiskey, Bobby. Man, Joe Fortenbaugh's got that mustache rolling. Yeah, that mustache is cracking right now. Pigs. You haven't been here in a while. Isaiah Simmons from Clemson was high potential. I liked him a lot. Maybe you have been here, Pigs. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you here. Good afternoon, Major Raider. I will not see you on Thursday. I'm not involved on Thursday's event, so have a good time. I'm sure it'll be a great event.
Like a season ticket holder thing, or
yeah. Miami versus Notre Dame, man, that's a hell of a football game, man. Can Miami win that game? I guess so. I mean, anybody can win. Jack Yates got the Raiders going 12-5. 12-5.
JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S. Over the next few weeks of summer, JT will look back at the most influential Raiders draft picks in the history of this storied franchise.
With the 13th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select
the players only drafted by the Raiders who played in the most important games and also had lasting impacts on the NFL.
I always tell people when I came in, I always had, the legends and guys like that to look up to. In that building, you always had, Hall of Famer Willie Brown, who was, an assistant coach at that time in the DB's room. You had Freddie Biletnikoff. You just had these legends walking around all the time, man, and they helped you understand what it meant to be a Raider. What it meant to, play in the NFL and try to hold yourself to a high standard and go out there and play hard each and every day.
Charles Woodson, everybody, as we look back at the greatest Raiders draft picks of all time. C. Wood made it into our top 10, obviously. And Raider Nation, I got something special for you. I partnered up for another season with Charles Woodson and his Spirit Woodson Whiskey. Order the limited edition Black Hole bottle today at woodsonwhiskey.com. Use my code, JT the Brick, for 15% off. JT the Brick, 15% off, and it ships fast right to your door. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast to the silver and black. Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, the official bourbon whiskey of Raider Nation. Please celebrate responsibly. So next hour, I'll get into this more with Charles as we're counting down the top 10. People say, is Charles 10? No, I'm in the top 10. And Bobby and I decided we have a #1. We're counting down to our #1 draft pick of all time. So everybody else who falls in the top 10 is the top 10. So Charles is in the top 10, and we're talking about him today. The Heisman Trophy winner, the first on defense, Raiders from 98 to 2005, 2013 to 15, Super Bowl champ, Defensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, 9-time Pro Bowler, Pro Football Hall of Famer, College Football Hall of Famer. C. Wood, that's who we're talking about today. 702-365-9200. So as we wait for the Raider cuts to become official, which will happen here in 20 minutes, and it might happen before that, and we're keeping our head on a swivel, there's a couple of players that are going to be cut today that teams are hoping get through waivers, including the Raiders. So the Raiders are going to hope that these players aren't claimed by another team. For the Raiders, I think they need to claim a player or two from another team. We'll see. We'll see if they're able to do that. I'm looking for a corner. Are you looking for a depth right tackle? You might. I was not impressed with the backup offensive lineman in the preseason. If John Spytek sees another one, we don't need another tight end. I think the linebackers are veterans. But if you see someone out there that you think is special, let us know when it comes to cut downs here. But I'm hoping a corner is brought in either as a starter or for depth. And Pete Carroll might think he has his starters all set. So if he does, you'd be bringing someone in for depth. Tim is in Sacramento, Raider Nation Radio. Hello, Tim.
See what? No, I remember him just with the eye tape. That's trademarked. And the beard goatee he's got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Amari Cooper, the return, he's known for his baby face. And I think he went to Alabama, and so he has to remember where he's from and thrive it into the pros. Now, the guys like Hall of Famers, Shannon Sharp, he went to a small school, Savannah State.
Yep.
He can still do well, just like his brother, Sterling Sharp, who is in the fame.
Yep.
And so good for Woodson. I want to group these guys' names together because I believe they all deserve to be in the same category. And I believe that, Charles Woodson, let's honor him for week 1 of the regular season.
Thank you for the call, Tim. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. I thought that was a Kenny Pickett call. It was a Charles Woodson call, which is nice. And Charles has become a very good friend. And I'm honored to be representing his brand on the radio. It really is. It's cool. And Charles is connected to the Black Hole, where all the business we're able to do with the Black Hole and Woodson Bourbon Whiskey, that's kind of like a 2-for-1 for us, which we're really proud of. That opens up a line for you. This first hour of the show, we're talking about Amari Cooper and Kenny Pickett. Are you good with this? I think the Raiders added 2 good players yesterday, right, Bobby? Wasn't that something we texted? I mean, am I missing something? The Raiders added Amari Cooper and Kenny Pickett yesterday. That's pretty good. I mean, Kenny Pickett was a 20th pick overall in the first round, and Amari Cooper's been an excellent player in this league. Is he the player that he was 5 years ago? No. Can he make big plays for the Raiders? Yes. The Raiders needed him. Now, some people think it's going to stunt the growth of Jack Besh. Don't worry about Jack Besh. Jack Besh has been through a lot. His brother was taken from us on New Year's, right? In a terrorist attack in New Orleans. Let's relax on Jack Besh. I can't imagine anybody going through what Jack Besh went through in the last 8 months, 6-8 months. Let Jack Besh develop. He was a second round pick, excuse me. Let him develop. Every time I'm out at practice, he's pushing people around. He's blocking downfield. You know what I want Jack Besh in the game for? Obviously catch touchdowns. But when it's 2nd and 6, if Jack is in there and they run the ball towards Jack and Jack gets to clip a linebacker, mark my words, you're going to love that video. When Jack's able to just go hit a linebacker and go do that, that's going to be a lot of fun. He's a really good blocking receiver. And they took him for a number of reasons, to develop him and obviously to get him on the field pretty quickly here. And I think he'll be able to do that. Raider O in San Diego, home of the Padres. But did the Padres lose last night after tying this thing up? Oh, what's going on here? Come on, man.
Hey, JT, my only concern is the Raiders.
Okay.
I just wanted to call in and calm my Raider Nation brothers and sisters down who are concerned about Kenny Pickett. I think you could have hoped that maybe we could have got him for slightly less draft capital. But John Spytek doesn't strike me as someone who, somebody else can get over on. I think they made the best deal he could. A couple of days ago, we had complaints about Aiden, and then we had a hole that we had to fill in our roster. And honestly, for me, I think it's an upgrade. I think the folks who don't like this move are maybe some of the same folks who didn't like Geno coming in. How can we forget how important quarterback play is with our history of bad quarterbacking at times? Anybody remember Connor Cook having to play? Anybody remember Bobby Hoying having to play in the AFC Championship?
The McGloin train? Remember the McGloin train, which I led up in the Bay Area? The Matt McGloin train?
Trent Edwards coming in for Jason Campbell. I just got to say, I hope that the only plays Kenny Pickett sees are taking knees and blowouts. But if he does have to come in, he's beat us. He's won some games. And I think, prior to getting Geno, if you told me, hey, he's going to come in and start over Aiden, some folks would have been okay with it at that time. So I think that we made a good move at this time, and hopefully, if needed, it comes up. Kenny Pickett can come up big. I just wanted to touch on Amari quickly. We know what he is not at this point in his career. I've said before what I thought about him when he was with the Raiders. But if he can come up with somewhere between 6 and 10 touchdowns over a season, maybe a Chiefs killer for one night, I'll take it. I'm not looking for him to be number one. To me, the Jacoby Myers situation, it's just contractual, and I hope it gets figured out.
Yeah.
He's absolutely our number one, and a big piece of what we want to do this season. Thank you, JT.
Thank you. I appreciate the call. A lot of people are asking me, is that a hedge if you're going to trade Jacoby Myers? I don't know. I think Jacoby Myers, who's such a great leader and a good player on this team, is going to be here. And I don't get involved in contracts, but Amari Cooper, is he a drop-off from Jacoby Myers? Yeah, now he is. I don't think Amari Cooper, but for the majority of his career, Amari Cooper was better than Jacoby Myers. He was. 5-time Pro Bowler. Good player. Now, if he's healthy, I don't know how healthy and fast these guys are. When they brought in Amari Cooper and they looked at him and he was sitting out, they obviously looked at him, worked him out, and think he's good to play and a good option. So imagine it's 3rd and goal from the 6, and the Raiders have Ashton Genty behind Geno, Brock Bowers, Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers, and Dante Thornton for that high point catch because he's 6'5". Let me repeat that again. 3rd and goal from the 6. Geno in the shotgun. Ashton Genty to his right. To the far left is Jacoby Myers. In the inside slots, Amari Cooper. The tight end is Brock Bowers, and the other receiver is Dante Thornton. Anybody got a problem with that? All you got to do is hold your block if you're the offensive line and let those guys run around. 2 of them are going to be single covered. 2 of them. Guaranteed Amari Cooper will be single covered, and guarantee you Dante Thornton will be single covered. Brock will be double teamed with a linebacker or a safety. Jacoby Myers, who's normally been guarded one-on-one. And then you got to keep an eye on Ashton Genty as he floats outside the pocket and can catch a touchdown. And we got Geno. And that's a pretty good thing to have, I think. But you got to get the 3rd and goal from the 6. You got to get down there. If you can get down there, good things can happen. Kelvin in San Francisco, California, on the Raider flagship. Hello, Kelvin.
Hey, JT, thanks for the call. I'm actually pretty excited about the Kenny Pickett pickup. And here's why. I got snake bit a bit. Year 2000, I think it was 2016. I had tickets week 17 with the Raiders against Denver. In Denver, flew out to Denver. I'm pretty good pals with Todd Downing, so I know Raider Nation doesn't think highly of. But really quick, I'll tell you, as you know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that us fans don't know about. Week 17, I had to go watch Matt McGloin and Connor Cook play football against the Broncos. And I was sitting there in the stands watching those guys quarterback. Nothing against them. They're hell of football players, obviously, if they're playing at that level. But you could tell in warm-ups that it was not going to go well. And being at that game, I would have killed for a quarterback like Kenny Pickett to start for the Raiders, anything close to that. He's had success, won games in the NFL. And if we had a Kenny Pickett-type quarterback in that year, we'd probably beat the Texans in the playoffs a week after. So I think it's a good thing. You got to have insurance in case Geno goes down. And backup quarterbacks aren't led to go out and win you games for 6 games. They're designed to keep you afloat till your starter gets healthy. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, I think you said a lot of good things there. Thanks for checking in. If Geno, I don't talk about future injuries to healthy guys, and thanks for the call, but Geno's completely healthy. Quarterbacks get dinged. They have to go to the tent. They get hit on helmet to helmet, and they got to go to the tent. So if they do, and Kenny Pickett comes in, and the Raiders have a 2nd and 11 at their own 45, Chip Kelly's going to call a pass play for Kenny Pickett. You're not going to say, oh, my God, we're dead. We got to hand it off and punt. You got to be able to play in this league. Kenny Pickett could do that. Is he elite? No, he's not elite. But a lot of people thought, well, how did he get drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers fame organization in the 1st round, number 20 overall? I would assume that every GM in the league would have taken Kenny Pickett in the 1st or 2nd round. Shador dropped to the 5th. Aiden O'Connell went in the 4th. Right? Derek Carr went in the 2nd. So Kenny Pickett's got a skill set here because he was a backup to Jalen Hurts and played on a Super Bowl champion. We didn't get a chance to see him play much. And hopefully we don't get a chance to see him play much because Geno's having a Pro Bowl year. Snake Man in South Carolina, listening on the mobile app. Go ahead.
What's up, JT? Yeah, kudos to the Jersey guys, man. You know, I always root for those Jersey. That's all stomping grounds, man. Jersey Shore. So that's awesome. He's from the same town as Stu. I want to talk about him for a minute. You know, the league and the Raiders, and specifically, are chock full of reclamation quarterbacks and players over the years. You know, we just need to go back to Plunkett, to Gannon, to Geno Smith right now. No one can tell me for sure that Kenny Pickett can't be one of those reclamation projects. And Pete specifically has a really good history of developing and getting these guys back on the beam. I'm super excited about it. I think that's a very shrewd move by this staff, and they've done nothing so far to prove me wrong for what they've done in the past. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt until we see otherwise. But I think the guy, you know, he had the second best combine athleticism score when he came out in the draft. So the guy's got talent. His big knock initially, if you recall, was his 8.5-inch hands, his small hands, which is just ridiculous, you know. And by the way, he's not going to be playing in a whole lot of rain, being that he's playing under a roof most of the time.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. Thanks a lot again. When we look at the history of this organization with backup quarterbacks, this history with this proud organization has a deep history with the backup quarterback plan. Really deep. Jim Plunkett was a third stringer when Mr. Davis said, I need you to rest and get healthy. I'm going to need you. One of the greatest quotes in Raider history. We're going to need you. How'd that work out? Rich Gannon, at that time a journeyman. He was a journeyman, but he started in the league. How'd that work out? It worked out well. There's been backups that have been called in. Vince Evans. Guys have made big plays in this organization. I'm not claiming Kenny Pickett's going to make one anytime soon, but if we need him, he can play. He can play, and he'll want to step up and prove to the Raider Nation that he can do it.
It's unnecessary roughness.
The Raiders are going to find multiple ways to run the ball this year. JT's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Zamir White, some of the heavy lifting as well. The Raiders are going to be creative. Mark this down. There's a website right now that puts out like everything that we say on the show, but they don't put their name on it, but that's okay. Hugh said the Raiders are going to find multiple different ways to run the rock in 2025. Trust and believe that.
Don't miss Unnecessary Roughness weekdays at 2 on Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM.
Twitter.
This is JT for the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit theblackhole.com today. That's theblackhole.com.
Personal injury law has been the same for a long time. We've had enough. Welcome to Sam & Ash, the new standard for personal injury law, where things are done the right way. Because you deserve a team that delivers real support and results. When you have both, your whole world can change. So if you've been hurt in a crash, call Sam & Ash, 702-303-0333. Sam & Ash, because you deserve what's right.
Calls on the radio.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly.
We're hiring at A1 Garage Doors.
Because
no
you watch some of
experience,
these
no
national
problem.
shows
We
on
provide
TV.
full training, a brand new van,
One of
top-of-the-line
the two
tools, a
biggest
gas
shows
card,
on
and
national
steady
TV
jobs with
are
weekly
McAfee
pay.
and
This isn't
Colin.
just a job. It's a
Colin
career
and
with
McAfee.
real growth, great
They don't
pay,
take calls.
and job security. Our
that's
team
pretty
members
remarkable.
go from training
And they're
to six
super
figures,
successful.
and we're ready to help you do the same.
Well, why don't they
Don't
take
wait.
calls?
Apply now at
I don't know.
a1garage.com/careers.
You can take good calls here and there. I was a great caller. Jim Rome put me on his show. I made the show better. He
At
said that.
Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just
All
when
right,
you need it
Bobby, we
most.
just found out that we
Life
have
is
a
circle.
car sponsor coming
May
into our
yours
show.
help you
That's been a
live the
while, huh?
healthiest life possible.
I will hold back on saying the vehicle, but a very respected global vehicle is sponsoring the show.
If you have a freebie, let me know.
Yeah. You still have your driver's license,
Of course.
but you don't drive.
No.
So do you have to keep it up? How do you?
I go in to get it renewed every 4 years.
Oh, good.
I mean, I'll drive again when they let me get out in traffic with a baseball bat. Some of y'all out here,
Yeah.
you wouldn't survive a day in Boston. Or New York, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about 2.5. So.
I'll just tell you this, and I got a bunch of cars, right? No need to say which ones I have, no need, but not paying for gasoline is probably the coolest bleeping thing in the world.
Of course.
Solar, if you don't have to pay for electric because you have solar, that's pretty cool, but I never got behind that. I should have, kind of, maybe, whatever, but once you stop paying state taxes, Nevada, and you stop paying for gasoline, you will never go back. Never. I promise you.
All right.
And all the places that I'd move from, if I moved from Nevada, probably are state tax-free spots.
All righty. Hey, we got 3 minutes. How about a cane?
Yeah, good one. How did Bobby get Woodson's first ever touchdown? The magic of Bobby Machado, the magic of Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. I talked to Shauna today in the hallway. She's our unbelievable liaison sales rep. She's got a bigger title than that. She does it all here. And I told her how much I love this partnership with Raising Cane's. My sons are Caniacs, the box combo, the Caniac combo, the 3-finger combo, the sandwich combo, the kids combo, and they can help you out with all your tailgating needs. If you show up at a UNLV football game or a Raider game and you got Canes with you, everybody's going to be raving. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love. So as we're talking about Charles Woodson, he's our featured, he's in our top 10 of all-time greatest Raider draft picks for obvious reasons. I mean, he was expected to be great when he came in. And Charles has told this story many times as he needed to mature a little bit more. He's getting after it a little bit when he came in. Eric Allen, who's in the Hall of Fame, kind of mentored him. Rod Woodson, when he came in, kind of mentored him. Charles left to go to Green Bay, won, a Super Bowl. He was a great player, and then came back to the Raiders. And I remember the day he came back to Oakland, and the fans were waiting at the facility in Alameda for him. He truly is one of the most impactful Raiders of all time, Charles Woodson. Happy to call him a friend and a guy who's just great. And he'll have a cigar with his Woodson bourbon whiskey. And if you're a fan of cigars, La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village, proud partner of the show, has opened. It is opened up. We'll be a part of the grand opening. I went through the walk-in humidor. I went to the outdoor room now. They got outdoor. They got a VIP room. It's remarkable. Congratulations to Mike. Stay tuned for details on the new grand opening celebration and a special live broadcast. La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village and online at lacasacigars.com. All right. In 4 minutes, every roster in the NFL becomes official. We'll be the first to tell you about the Raiders on the flagship of the Silver and Black, Raider Nation Radio. All right. What's that?
You on La Casa?
No, we'll get on that. Canes. All right. What are we doing with this Raider roster? Is it official yet? So we're keeping an eye on the Raiders roster, right? Raiders PR on Twitter, too. Yeah, they put out just 22 hours ago the latest roster. Blah 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 blah. All right. Nice group today, man. We got a big group today, man. You don't have to make fun of AOC Fluffer not being as fast as your grandmother. You know, imagine this guy's hurt. Aiden O'Connell's at home with his wife. He's injured. And you got people trolling him. Like Carla doesn't do that. My friend Carla, she doesn't do that. But Carla loved Derek Carr, man. Carla, you love Derek Carr, man. Yeah. I think Carr's going to play this year in the league. I just don't know what team he's going to play for. Mike Downs says Kenny Pickett is horrible. That's why. How do you know he was horrible, Mike? Were you at practice? Were you breaking down film, Mike? How horrible was he? Yeah, Aiden's had a lot of bad luck, man. But we've all had bad luck in life, right? We've all had days that weren't great for us. Yeah, so let's see what's going on with some roster moves. And when that comes down, when you see that, just make a note of who's the big name that you didn't see. Or
I'm waiting on Spurs, more stuff.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of experts, man. That's why sports radio is cool. Everyone's opinion matters. But, you know, if we can clean up something, you don't make fun of a guy on your team when he's injured. That is lame. That is just lame, man. So you got that 2:30 today. Yep. Who's claiming to be an expert, Martin? I got a lot of people claiming to be an expert. Everybody thinks they know more than the coaches. Not everybody. A lot of people think they know more than the coaches. All these Madden GM experts always putting down Raider players. Greg McElroy says Texas A&M 7.5 wins. Stanford Steve. All right, let's see what we're seeing. It is 1 o'clock. Rosters need to be cut down to 53 right now. See what Adam Schefter is saying.
Show. Brought to you by Grimaldi's Pizzeria, home of the famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza.
It's the JT the Brick Show.
You know, obviously it means a lot to me being a part of the Silver and Black alone. You know, the history, I've said it a million times. I feel like I was meant to be a Raider. I love being here.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
It's amazing, you know, opportunity, great community here, and, you know, great fan base. So I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, you know, a lot of great times.
It's going to be all about competition, and there's going to be no easy games in our division. And now here's JT the Brick.
Thanks for coming back, everybody. JT at Lotus Studios today, as we're waiting for the Raiders roster to become official. And it just did a minute ago, and we're waiting on the release of it. So when we end up getting it, we'll let you know about it there. I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises overall. I don't think there's going to be a tremendous amount of surprises here, but the Raiders just recently, yesterday, signed Kenny Pickett to be the backup quarterback, and Amari Cooper is back. So we are taking your calls on those two additions before the roster comes out, and the cuts and the full list and everything. Yahoo Sports is putting that out now, and we're just waiting to see if it's official on what the Raiders are doing. And we know that the Raiders let go of some players yesterday. Colin Johnson and Philip Dorsett at wide receiver. Jalen Smith, Sam Webb, Ja Joyner, Keytron Jackson. I want to say Keytron's a good friend of my son and a good kid. Been over to my home. I love that kid. He's a warrior, and I hope he ends up somewhere good. He's a good player. Kadir Ismail, the missile's son. I thought he looked really good in camp. Amari Gaynor. Some of the other names that are not there anymore. Andre Carter II, the defensive end. He's a good player. Defensive tackle, Tank Booker. Don't mix them up. Michael Barrett, the linebacker. So there are players there, and we'll wait for more as it becomes official now. So 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 Eastern. These rosters become official. We'll see who goes to IR and can come back. Lonnie Johnson, Aiden O'Connell, right? The injured players that you can park there to see what happens. I did say this, and I'm talking about it in our chat. We got over 900 people in there now on YouTube and Twitter, JT the Brick YT. I just remind everybody, look, you're going to do what you're going to do, but lay off AOC. And I don't even call him that. I apologize. Aiden O'Connell. Lay off Aiden. I mean, come on. The guy's a Raider. The guy gets injured. The guy's giving you everything. He's had a lot of turmoil, a lot of different coaches. He got hurt in a game. Trying to compete. Give the guy a break. Let the guy and his wife fight his way back to the Raiders, or if it's another team, or whatever's going to happen. Wish Aiden well. He's a really good guy. I've done chalk talks with him. I've sat down with him. He's a really good guy, and he's a Raider. All these guys who are cut by the Raiders and coming up here in a little bit, they're all Raiders. They all tried. Some of the guys are going to try to make the team. Some of them are going to go on the practice squad, and I really believe the practice squad in this era of the Raiders with John Spytek and Pete Carroll is going to mean more. And I really believe that because I think Pete Carroll is going to be looking at his practice squad players and competing. And he's going to tell some of the starters or backups, no, you didn't compete well this week. We're bringing someone up from the practice squad. I think you're going to see that. And I don't normally do that. I normally don't get into that much. I think that's going to change a little bit here. Mikey in Staten, Italy, checking in as the Yankees won. And the Raiders are trying to get this roster down. Mike, what do you think?
Hey, JT, I just came across my thing. Renfro was just released by the Panthers. Do we want to bring another veteran into the room?
No, I don't think they have the new Renfro and Jack Besher they took in the second round. A guy who can play the slot, stronger, bigger, and has more upside. But we wish Hunter Renfro well. He was injured. He got concussed. He was out of the league. He got a chance to play back home where he wanted to play. Wink, wink. Where he wanted to play in Carolina. And I don't know what's going to happen to Hunter Renfro, but he was a really good player here for a short period of time.
Hey, JT, you were at all the practices. Comparing them to years past, is the one thing that I noticed from the exhibition, the team is a lot quicker, sidelines to sideline.
Yeah.
Was that something in practice that Carroll has everybody running to the ball with the speed, the linebackers, the defensive linemen? See, I think that's going to be key. We got to get the secondary tacklers there to stop it. I understand we can't give up the big plays. If we can minimize the big plays with the speed and the defense, with Chip Kelly's offense, I think we're, again, rosy glasses, but I think we're going to have a lot better season on our hands.
Mike, you made a good point. Pete Carroll likes guys that have a nose for the football. So they're going with 3 veteran linebackers who all can go sideline to sideline. They're not at their peak where they were when they came into the league speed-wise, but they have the ability to line up correctly and gang tackle and get to the ball. And the safeties are pretty good tacklers, I think, near the line of scrimmage. I'm just a little bit worried on the deep ball. I don't have a lot of confidence in the corners. And the safeties, I got to see Jeremy Chin on the deep ball. Isaiah Palomal's been beat from time to time. I'm concerned about Josh McDaniels of the Patriots, Jaden Daniels of Washington, and in week 2, Justin Herbert taking deep shots at the Raiders. And the only thing that can counter that is Max Crosby and Malcolm Kuntz and Tyree Wilson putting his hands up and getting to those guys.
Well, you nailed it. We have to win the turnover battle. We have to get the ball back, JT. Have a great one,
Thank you, Mikey. Good to hear from you. This hour is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, the original handcrafted vodka. What a great success story. Tito's is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. They're back with us. Proud partners, I told you. Always wanted to do business with Tito's because I love my Tito's. And Tito's is back, distilled and bottled by fifth generation, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. So the Kenny Pickett story, Bobby, I mean, you said this. You were right. We got to give Kenny Pickett an hour or two. He's the new backup quarterback with the flagship. Yeah, got to give him a little bit. Matt Jones is a good backup quarterback for the Niners. Who's better, Kenny Pickett or Matt Jones? I don't know. Who's better? I mean, are we going to have you fantasy guys? Do you have like a fantasy draft of backup quarterbacks? The guy that I wanted the most, who I liked the most, was Jameis Winston. I like Jameis a lot. Jameis would have been nice too. But you give up a fifth-round pick, it seems like he's going to be here for a while. That opens up a line for you. There should never be an open line, 702-365-9200. Watch us live on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. Nash out in Houston on the mobile app. Hello, Nash.
Hey, how's it going, JT?
Good, thanks.
Hey, that comment you just made, I think that's the interesting thing about Pickett. I think, again, he's only got a one-year contract, but again, I think that's a guy that's going to stick around longer. I mean, you know how much Spytek loves draft picks, and fifth-round pick, that's a pretty high pick. And I got to believe that they are confident that when he gets here, Pete Carroll's going to sell him the same story he sold Geno about being a backup, learning, and having the opportunity to really grow. I mean, again, he was probably overdrafted in the first round, but he's certainly a quality player. He's pretty athletic, so I think he's going to be a really good fit. And, again, there's no telling what he can become. And I think the other thing that's interesting about this is, again, that Philadelphia connection that we got Thomas Booker. And then, again, those same guys are in Philadelphia last year, and they must have seen something in Kenny that they liked. And so, to me, I think it's a guy who's going to be here for more than 1 year and, again, can help us if we got to win that one or two games when Geno gets a little bit nicked up.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I don't know. I would love to see if Tommy Mallet made the final roster. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
That's the guy to me. That Cooper may have cost him a slot. And that's the only reason why I wouldn't be real gung-ho on Cooper.
Yeah, well, Amari Cooper's a much better player than him. Thanks for the call. Not even close. A much better player than Tommy Malott. A much better player than Dylan Lobby. A much better player than someone who he took a roster spot from. I'm happy you brought that up. Someone lost a job because of Amari Cooper. And I can promise you Amari Cooper is better than the player that lost his job or might have been moved to the practice squad. And you got to remember, Kenny Pickett, there's some ties. Thomas Booker, who the Raiders got in a trade from the Eagles, the new Raiders VP of Player Personnel, Brandon Hunt, and new senior personnel executive, Anthony Patch, were with Philly and saw every Pickett practice and were around him all year. Every one. So that's a big part of what's happening here. Let the new guys in the personnel department figure out who the players they are, and maybe they have a connection. They saw something a little bit different, and we'll see what happens. You know, the Kenny Pickett trade, I read something today, Cleveland, online. Kenny Pickett, the reason why he was available, because he's the backup quarterback, right? Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders were there. Kenny Pickett is more capable of playing football now than Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel, but those guys were draft picks, and I think Shedeur could be a star in this league. I do. So Kenny Pickett became expendable. So he's going to back up Geno Smith here in Vegas. Aiden's going to be out anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks after a fractured wrist. And Cleveland acquired Pickett from the Eagles in March for quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's 27 years old. He won a Super Bowl as one of the Eagles' backup quarterbacks. Lost the starting battle to Flacco. Flacco's a good player. And, you know, look at this move overall. If the Raiders didn't need, this is an emergency, man. This was an emergency. Aiden got hurt. Cam Miller is not ready to start. If Geno goes to the blue tent or Geno pulls up with a hamstring, could you imagine putting Cam Miller in at Washington? I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't handle the pressure and he's a good young quarterback, but come on. You got to get someone that you can put in there and say, here's Chip Kelly's offense. Now, what'll be interesting to see is how, imagine being Kenny Pickett. I was talking about this to someone in the building. You're Kenny Pickett, you get on a plane, and they give you information, you fly, you sign your contract, you have your physical. Then all of a sudden, Chip Kelly calls you into the room and shows you this playbook. Woo! Oh, this is a big playbook. And Chip's made it simple for Gino. He's at the line of scrimmage early. He's making really good decisions, you hope. There's a lot of options. But for Kenny Pickett to get this playbook from Chip Kelly, there's going to be some homework assignments quickly. And they got to get them going. And they got plenty of time before that New England game. Right? We're sitting here on Tuesday, and we're waiting for the New England game coming up. And Kenny Pickett's got to be available in case of emergency to go play in that game. He's got to be ready to go in New England with the full playbook. Now, God forbid something happens to Gino. Is Kenny Pickett going to get the full playbook? No. Some short passes to Brock, heavy dose of running with Ashton Genty. We know how the movie's going to look if he has to get in there. But other than that, it's an important time for a guy who's here to be a backup to embrace that role and find a way to start playing quickly and digest the playbook and the concepts of Chip Kelly. And I think he'll be able to do that. No news yet on the Raiders roster. No news yet from Vinny Bonsignore to Sean Reed, Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. So we're just waiting, and my son's here. He's here for that reason. He's doing a great job. We got to get him in here to help me with this roster. The last tweet to come from the Raiders was the signing of Amari Cooper. Since entering the NFL in 2015, Cooper has posted 7 seasons of 1,000-plus receiving yards, tied for the second most in the NFL over that span behind Mike Evans. It's a nice career he's had. Really nice career. How much does he have left in the tank? How much do you have left in the tank? All right, we all think we got a lot left in the tank. But in general, you don't know until you're put in that situation. 702-365-9200. Also keeping an eye on some other breaking news around the NFL. Some good people have been asking me about Isaiah Simmons. I really liked him when he came out of Clemson and went to Arizona as like a safety linebacker. He was let go too, but I don't think he's on the radar for the Raiders. But I like his size and his mobility. So cut down day, the latest as all of these rosters are being trimmed. And then I have to say it again. And why am I doing it? Because it's the lead story in the world. Not in sports, in the world. Travis Kelce got engaged to New York, you know who. Number one story. It's breaking the internet, Bobby. The internet is breaking as we speak.
Not for me.
Not Oasis playing global concerts in Manchester.
Not for me.
Not the death of Ozzy Osbourne and more tributes. Not the Backstreet Boys at Sphere and the new edition of Wizard of Oz. Travis Kelce got engaged, and it's the lead story on ESPN, who is now an official partner with the NFL as they're now crossing over. And the
cross-promoting.
Cross-promoting. This is the number one story in sports today. Not roster cut downs, not even close to the Kelce engagement.
Can I tell you a little secret?
Yes.
God's honest truth. You would have to send away to NASA. They would have to make a new instrument that could literally measure in the 0.00000 to the 25th power how much I actually care about this story.
How many times have you been engaged in your life?
Give me a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You've been engaged 5 times in
Yep.
your life. I did not know that. And we've been together since what year?
96.
96. Wow.
I like weddings.
You went over the total. I would have said 3.
I really like wedding nights, actually.
Yeah, wedding nights are fun. I've been
Might
engaged.
be up from another one.
I've been engaged once.
Well, that's you. I mean,
Yes.
you went down the road and
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh,
Your kids, all
yeah.
that kind of me.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm a lunatic. So.
And congratulations to my younger sister. I have 2 younger sisters. My younger sister, Dana, today is her 30-year wedding anniversary.
Cool.
That's a big deal. 30 years my sister's been married today.
Very cool.
And my wedding anniversary is coming up September 4th.
That's true.
Yes.
Labor Day.
Labor Day. I got married Labor Day weekend. You were there. So I got to get on that. Birthdays are good. I got a June and a May birthday for my sons. And my big one's coming up here, but don't focus on mine. Focus on Eric Allen's. Eric Allen was born 12 hours before I was. 12 hours, we figured it out. 12 hours, not 12 days. So we'll get ready for that. All right, more on Kenny Pickett and Amari Cooper. I apologize, everybody. I thought I'd have the Raider roster by now. I don't. And that's no one's fault. It just, we don't have it now. We have some for some teams, but we don't have the official Raiders roster just yet. When we get it, hopefully before the end of the show, we'll let you know it. We'll tweet it out. And if not, Q will do that as he's coming up next, and he's really good at breaking down rosters. I can tell you that. I am going to get a water because I haven't drank any water in an hour and 18 minutes. So let me get a water quickly. Cowboys have their official roster. See that? Look at that. Cowboys. They're starting.
Cool. Just whatever the hell's in the background, move it. So I'll get I just went to commercial. I'll get you about 4 minutes.
Did I tell you Williamson is 12:45 on Tuesdays?
Yeah. Well, that's going to conflict with Sherman.
In every case, and with all that fighting, we've become Nevada's largest personal injury law firm.
Hey, if we gotta go every other week, we'll do that too. Whatever.
Who you hire matters. Would you call anyone else? Richard Law Firm. Circa Million and Circa Survivor are back with a massive $21 million in guaranteed prize. Circa Million. Pick 5 games against the spread each week. 126 ways to win with $6 million guaranteed. Circa Survivor. 1 pick a week, no point spread. Last the longest to win it all. $15 million guaranteed. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere. $21 million guaranteed. Visit circusports.com for details.
Chevy trucks have you covered when the road takes you from smooth sailing to Chevy Colorado will heat up some of the toughest terrains with 5 available drive modes. And Silverado and Silverado HD have the muscle to take you out for some serious engine options and impressive towing. Well, Silverado EV is the perfect combo of performance and capability, making it a snap to hitch up the truck on the road. Wherever the road leads, Chevy trucks are right there with you. See your Southern Nevada Chevy dealers.
Big news, Las Vegas. Les Olson IT has moved to a bigger, better facility to serve you like never before. Our new space means more technology, more service, and more solutions, all designed with you in mind. Plus, we're hiring. If you're ready,
I'll call later. You can bring your headset in tomorrow. You got one at home, right? You need one. I got an extra set. Yeah, Cowboys 53-man roster's out. Jacksonville's out. We're looking for other.
There's going to be Woodson intercepting Peyton Manning.
Okay. Who's James still yapping?
Huh?
I'm talking to the chat. No beefing. Who's beefing? James still going? Who's James? Aiden played an entire season with a fractured wrist. Why was this not reported? Is he a doctor? Is James a doctor?
I think James is fighting for Aiden, and everyone else is hating on Aiden.
Yeah, no one should be hating on Aiden in my chat. Vinny says,
See you later.
Vinny, see if the Raiders came out with it.
Hey Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Really sucks. A terrible boss, and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks, and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck You offers small classes with benefits to get times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck the letter U.
We got Dalton Wasserman. Who do we have? The guest. I sent that to you.
Yeah, I got it 1:30.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's important. Yeah, we got
They're hung up on the what's
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show.
All right.
Brought to you by
Here we
the
go.
Casa Verde Lab Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
They graded Dave Valdell off Wasserman.
Yes, turn it up. Yes, that's Charles Woodson, our featured greatest draft picks, top 10 of all time. Charles comes in, you would think at number 10, but he could come in at number 2 or number 5. So we didn't want to get anybody mad at us and say that someone, if you're in the top 10, you're in the top 10. We only have a number 1. We have a number 1, which you'll get next week. And it's important as that comes up here. So we're waiting on the rosters to come out. We're seeing some being released, and we'll figure out the other ones that are coming out here looking for news. And we've been spending most of the day talking about Kenny Pickett and Amari Cooper. Those are the 2 new additions to the Silver and Black. I think they're both pretty good additions. I mean, I don't know why anybody would have a bit of a problem with any of that. Those are 2 good players that have been added to the roster. 2 good players that have been added to the roster. So you got to say to yourself, if those are 2 good players that can help us, the Raider Nation, win, what's the problem? Right? That shouldn't be a problem if these guys can help us win. And I think that's where we're at right now. Now, the question really becomes if you think that there are better players available than Amari Cooper and Kenny Pickett.
Sure,
and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about those players. I don't know of many backup quarterbacks who were taken 20th in the first round
Yeah.
just a few years ago who have better skill set than Kenny Pickett, but I could be wrong. Dalton Wasserman from PFF will join us at the bottom of the hour, and we could talk to him about college and NFL football. Raider Dave, always a big part of our show when we're looking at the history of the Raiders.
I think, you do talk about the history, as a lot of people do, and what is there is talent. And I think that I want to welcome Pickett and Cooper back because these guys have talent. And, he would have been, I think, a starter over in Cleveland. I was excited to watch him play when he played for Pittsburgh. I think a lot of the country was excited to see how he would do. He goes to a team that wins a Super Bowl championship last year. Whether he played or not, I don't care. The part is culture. And he's the culture of a winner, the culture of a team that became champions. And I think anytime that the Raiders can go ahead and get a player that has that culture and talent, it's a darn good thing. Now you look at the receivers, they drafted 3 rookie receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the veteran? Well, the veteran wants a little more money because he's the only veteran there. Now there's more of a veteran presence on the staff, on the Raiders roster. And I look forward to see how many of these guys that are going to be tough cuts. And hopefully they make it through waivers and come back to the Raiders. Thank you, JT.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. That's a really good point. How many guys are going to be cut and clear waivers and come back to the Raiders? That's what we're all doing today. And I apologize for not having the information yet. When we get it, we'll get it out to you. Q's definitely going to have it. It could happen, obviously, before practice coming up here. Raiders have a lot of moving parts here today. Very busy day over at global headquarters for the Silver and Black. Very busy day. And you can understand that. But we're seeing some rosters being released around the NFL, the 53-man for the Cowboys, the Jaguars. I'm looking out there. And, when you look at this, there are some players. People are asking me overall, fans are saying in the chat, who do you think gets cut or not? I don't know. I don't do the projected 53. Vinny and Tashawn Reed do great jobs at that. As a matter of fact, Vinny really takes a lot of pride in that. He really does. He takes a lot of pride in that. So I would resort and go over to Vinny Bonsignore to tell you on that. But, you could see a draft pick or 2 not make it. You could see a draft pick. We drafted some players not make it. And that's hard when you draft a player and you use draft equity on a player, and then you go through camp in the preseason, you go, oh boy, that guy we drafted in the 7th or 6th round, or that backup offensive lineman that we drafted isn't good enough. And we didn't miss on him completely, but we want him here, but we want him to clear and come back on the practice squad. That's it. And that's not the end of the world. And if that player gets picked up by somebody else along the way, then you lose out. But it's just a risk-reward business, man. It is risk-reward. John Spytek's job is hard. This is not an easy job that he has. He's got to go out and find a way to build this team. And when you look at how he's going to build this team, he and Pete Carroll, I look at John Spytek and getting to know him just a little bit, that he wants to build the team long-term like every GM who's ever started his career. You don't want to start trading players away and signing guys. We just saw that with Devontae Adams. Devontae, I thought, was a really good signing at the time. Was he worthy of 2 picks? Yeah, he's Devontae Adams. It didn't work out. You give up a 5th-round pick to go get Kenny Pickett. Is it worth it? We don't know yet. But it clearly was a priority because Geno's the quarterback there, but you got to have insurance. And is insurance for the entire year at Allegiant Stadium worthy of a 5th-round pick? Is that the type of insurance? Yeah. I got insurance on my house, my car, my health, my kids, everything, my pet. Right? You have insurance in life. The insurance of a backup quarterback who can start is a 5th-round pick. You'd like to get someone like Tommy DeVito, which maybe you don't have to give up a 5th-round pick, but no, Kenny Pickett's a little bit more valuable than that. So Dalton Wasserman, kind enough to join us. What a job he does at PFF. We look to have him on a lot. Dalton, before we get to the NFL roster cuts, I wanted to get your preview on these big games. You have 3 games: Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. I'm assuming Arch Manning is going to be elite, not in college, but in the NFL. But he's got to play some college first, and he's going to rank for the Heisman here. I just don't know if he's good enough in his first global start. Big one on the road in the horseshoe against the national champs to win.
Yeah, look, I think honestly the big thing to remember is that it's not just Arch Manning versus Ohio State, it's Texas versus Ohio State, right? So there's a lot more factors in that game that are going to play a huge part in it, right? Texas has obviously a very good defense with several stars returning. They're going to be able to run the football, I think, pretty well this year with Trey Wisner and C.J. Baxter returning at running back. So it's not all on Arch's shoulders, although I will tell you, it is a tough matchup against Ohio State's secondary, especially one by Caleb Downs, who might be the best defensive player in the country. But I actually have Texas going in there and winning the game. I think both teams obviously looking at new starters at quarterback, but we've seen Arch before. We haven't seen Julian Sand really at all for Ohio State. I have Texas going in and winning that game despite being the underdog as the number 1 team in the country.
There's massive pressure on Brian Kelly to beat Clemson, massive, because of the last 3 openers. And look, when you schedule big boy teams, and that's what you're supposed to do at LSU, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. But are the Wolves at the door? How much pressure is there on LSU? I know Clemson is vastly improved and ranked in the top 4. Does LSU have a shot in this one?
They have a shot, but they need their defense to be better. They got some impact transfers, especially in the secondary, and that's really where they've had issues the last couple of years. Their offense the last couple of years with Jaden Daniels 2 years ago and with Garrett Nussmeier last year, their offense was absolutely good enough to make the playoff and contend for a national title, but they need balance on this team. They need to be better on defense if they want to finish the job this time, and that's going to include in this game. Clemson and Cade Klubnik, they're an explosive offense, especially in the passing game. You could say it is the perfect test for LSU and all those new faces in their secondary, but they have to be better in pass defense. We know Garrett Nussmeier is good. He's obviously an NFL prospect. They can score points, but if they're going to go into Clemson and win that game, they have to be better on defense, and they have to be better on defense all year.
Dalton Wasserman's our guest, and then let's wrap it up with the U and Notre Dame. Notre Dame and their core group of players, how far they went last year. We know how good they are. Miami really believes in going out and getting these transfer guys, these big names in the region of Southern Florida if they get it. I'm not a recruit guy. I don't know how good their freshman class is coming in. I know how good Notre Dame is on the back end with their juniors and seniors. Handicap this game for us.
Absolutely. I think actually you're going to get a hard-fought defensive game. And to be honest with you, I don't think Notre Dame minds playing those games at all. We saw them win a lot of those last year, especially in the playoff against Indiana, against Penn State, against Georgia. So Notre Dame, I really think, is going to be able to stick to their identity in this game. And you mentioned it. They have a fantastic secondary going against Carson Beck, who struggled a bit at Georgia last year when he lost some NFL-caliber weapons. And Miami lost their top 6 leaders in receiving yards last year. So it's a big matchup. Miami's going to need their defense to play well, and they're going to need to run the football well, I think, to stay tight in this matchup. But I really think Notre Dame's got a bit of an advantage with their style of football and their willingness to play in those dirty defensive type of games. I like Notre Dame in that game.
All right, Dalton Wasserman's our guest, PFF. Earlier, all these rosters have been submitted. And again, it takes a lot of time to dive through this. But in general, what are some of the teams that you think have done a nice job recently in upgrading their rosters? Because you got a draft, you get free agency, but there have been some trades, there have been some movement. Is there a team or two that has impressed you, and maybe another team or two that you thought should have did more and they haven't yet?
I think a couple of teams that really have overhauled, teams that have been towards the bottom and been working to accrue more talent. I really like what we've seen from a lot of the young kids on the New England Patriots so far in the preseason. Will Campbell at left tackle looks like a stud. Travion Henderson brings that explosiveness. I think Kyle Williams is going to do a nice job for them on the outside. And then I thought, earlier in the offseason, they did a great job building their defense in free agency. I really like the way that New England's coming around. I think the Giants have done a nice job. I'm still a believer that Russell Wilson should be the week 1 starter, but Jackson Dart looked good throughout the preseason. Abdul Carter is going to be an animal. I really like their defense and what that looks like now. And then if I had to throw a third one at you, I think the Carolina Panthers. I think they were really smart to load up on a lot of defensive pieces, but I also like them drafting the wide receiver Tedero McMillan 8th overall. I think they're starting to find more balance. I don't think their defense will be all the way there yet this year, but I think their offense is going to be pretty good with Bryce Young playing the way he's played lately.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think he's only going to get better there as he continues to develop. A topic I talked about last night that I wanted to ask you about, these quarterbacks that potentially could have a sophomore slump. I don't see it in Jaden Daniels. Bo Nix, a lot more tape on him. I'm out here in the AFC West. I wonder what you think about that. And looking at those second-year guys, Rattler named the starter in New Orleans. Just quarterbacks as they come into their first year and then they catch everybody and they play great and then they pull back a little bit. Is there a quarterback or two that you think might come back to the pack, or maybe two that are just going to get better?
I think Jaden Daniels is fantastic. I think he's in for another really good year. But I think what you have is 3 of them that you look at and you go, their rookie years didn't quite go the way they wanted for various reasons. And that's Caleb Williams, Drake May, and J.J. McCarthy. Now, obviously, McCarthy didn't play at all last year because of the knee injury. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on him coming into a team that won 14 games last year, right? Caleb Williams, the Bears have loaded up on offense, and they got the new coach and everything. Ton of pressure on him. And then I just mentioned New England getting all that talent and free agency in the draft. That puts the heat on Drake May to really come out and perform and be the centerpiece of it all, because the whole idea is to support him. I really like the way that all of those teams that picked the 6 quarterbacks in the first round last year have supported their guys and built their rosters. But there's pressure on a couple of them who had either didn't play like McCarthy or didn't have quite the year they thought they would, like May or Williams. A lot of pressure on them this year to make a big jump.
All right, as we wrap this up, I've been asking all of my guests to give me a team or two that didn't make the playoffs, or a team that you're really excited about in the NFC and the AFC, and maybe a team that'll take a step back that you're pretty sure we're a playoff team, but they're going to run into a bump and maybe miss the playoffs.
Wow. Okay. I think on the side of maybe a team that might miss the playoffs, I do not love, and I know, look, Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert are great, love that, but I do not love the Chargers season starting with their left tackle Rashawn Slater being out for the year, especially when it's a team that wants to run the football and they're really trying to emphasize more balance in their offense. You lose one of the best offensive linemen in football, you have a real problem. And I don't know that they're real deep yet in their front 7. I think it's going to be tough. It's a tough road in the AFC. with all those teams. As far as a team looking to make the playoffs, I think the NFC is very wide open. I look at a team like the Arizona Cardinals with a big-time opportunity out west if Matthew Stafford's going to have back problems all year. I like Carolina in the South as well if their defense can at least be more competent than it was last year. But I think you have an element. There's several of those teams in the NFC. The Chicago Bears, look, if Caleb Williams does play upright and he does play well like he has this preseason, that's another team. I think you got a lot of those in the second tier of the NFC that really could rise up. You could see the NFC look a lot different for the most part than it did last year, depending on just how fluid that is and how some of those younger teams can ascend.
Dalton Wasserman, last year Detroit was my Super Bowl pick. I got to make it next week. I'm leaning Buffalo in the AFC. I think that's a popular choice by a lot of people. And I loved Detroit last year, and then they lost the NFC Championship game at home with that bye week. I don't think they handled it correctly. They just let Washington come in and kick their butt, and they had nothing. They got overrun in the first half of that game. Are you bullish on Detroit, or do you think they come back to the pack?
I like Detroit. I just am not sure, especially with the two coordinator changes, that they will be better than last year, right, in those situations. And look, I think by the end of the year, is it possible that we could be asking some serious questions about Jared Goff, especially in the postseason? I think we could. They have a ton of talent, no question, and it's a big difference in their team. If Aiden Hutchinson's healthy this year and he plays all 17 games, that really changes their defense. He's one of the best pass rushers in football. But I do worry a bit about the coordinator switches and a bit about that offensive line, because you have to have a great offensive line in order to succeed and go far with Jared Goff as your quarterback.
Last one. We started with college football. I want to end with it, with the dominance of the Big Ten and the SEC and everybody else. Do you think college football is in a good place? Because it really feels like the cockiness of the SEC and the Big Ten, thinking they're going to get multiple teams in the playoffs that have lost games. I like the system a little bit better now. No one's going to go 11-1 or 12-0. It's going to be hard, especially with these teams scheduling each other in the SEC and the Big Ten. But the also-rans and the other Power Fives are saying, how many games can we lose? Do we have to go perfect? Because the third and fourth place teams in the Big Ten and the SEC feel like they're owed the opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of all of the entitlement, that's for sure. But I think they kind of got it right last year when it was, look, if you start losing in the territory of 3 or especially 4 games, I think it really hurts you. It really hurts you, right? And especially when you talk about, take Alabama last year, right? Okay, they lost 3 games, but you have to remember, 2 of them, were the teams they really shouldn't have lost to, in Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. You win one of those games, yeah, they probably put Alabama in. So I think there's a lot of the elements of some of those teams that had other arguments. It's, hey, win the games you're supposed to win. Ole Miss last year, they lost to Kentucky. There's no reason they should lose to Kentucky, if I'm being honest with you, last season with as much talent as they had. So, look, I get it. Look, and what it comes down to at the end of it with the 12, the way it is now, you realize there's not that many teams a year that win 10 games, right? So, I mean, it's tough to do anyway, but I don't think anybody should be entitled to anything. It's tough to figure out strength of schedule, especially when you have so many teams in college football that don't play each other. It's not like college basketball where you can pick and choose and play whatever, 30, 35 games or whatever it is. It's different, right? A lot of it's split up, and it's hard to figure out these metrics. If we had a way to have one, consistent system, we could do that. But no, I don't think anybody should feel entitled. The games are settled on the field. Figure it out on the field.
A tremendous guest for us, especially college and pro football. He is a must follow on X at PFF_Dalton. Dalton, we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Always appreciate you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys as always. Thank you.
Dalton Wasserman, PFF. Okay, so the Raider roster has been submitted. All of them had to be submitted, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. The Raiders, as of now, haven't released it yet, nor do they have to right now. It had to be submitted. So I'm following all the insiders. Deshaun Reed just tweeted out, Raiders decided to roll with the group of Ashton Genty, Zamir White, Raheem Mostert, and Dylan Lobby. Deshaun Reed, Raiders cut Sincere McCormick according to a league source. That's not according to the Raiders. Right. It's according to a league source. Keeping an eye on Vinny Bonsignore, Levi Edwards, all the insiders that we have here, and they're really good, and we have them on here for a reason. So the last thing that the Raiders have put out had to do was an hour ago, Amari Cooper back in the building, and an article on him and a picture of him. So we'll see what happens. I don't expect anything. Maybe we do get something, before the top of the hour. If not, Q will have it for sure. And Q will give you that roster as soon as it comes out. I wasn't expecting it to get it at 101, but it would have been nice to get it by now, but no need to. It had to be submitted. That didn't mean it had to be released. Want to thank all of the bricklayers, everybody. We're over 1,000 people in our chat now. Thank you for watching and listening today. We appreciate everybody. Good show today. You can catch me tonight on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I'll be on tonight from 7 to 10. Next week, I move to 8 p.m. to 11. I'll be on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Ooh. Yes, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which is the max I can do. It is the max because we're doing 5 days here, plus the Pete Carroll interview, plus the Eric Allen TV show, plus the pre and post for the Raiders, plus the JT and Looney podcast. There's a lot going on here, and I'm excited for all the opportunity I get. And hopefully some more things coming that we can announce here, so we're excited about that. Yeah, Q will have everything if we don't get it right here. And, oh, yeah, we got Lee Sterling back. He's coming back with his picks on Thursday. Jeff Sherman will join us on Tuesdays. Bill Williamson. We're putting our grid together. Johnny Katz with entertainment. Chris Matthews. All of this. And we're trying to make sure that we don't overstep anybody else as we're trying to put this all together in a nice, clean grid for everybody to hear and see. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show. We'll tell you what we got lined up. Hey, I know one thing. The Black Hole's all lined up. Football's most notorious fans, 40 chapters worldwide. Become a member for life. Once a member, always a member. Go to theblackhole.com. They got a lot of breaking news now. They're doing things downtown at the Golden Nugget. A lot's happening at the Black Hole. Please go to theblackhole.com. Thanks, everybody. That was a nice long chunk of content today. We thank everybody for being here. If there is any breaking news, listen on the radio. Listen to Q. Listen to me tonight on Mad Dog Sports Radio.